Hello and welcome to Crypto BS. I'm Al.
And I'm Craig.
And welcome to the show. Before we get started on the market news, I'd like to give a special thanks to our first show sponsor. That would be DJ 50 Cal for our intro. What'd you think, Craig?
I love it. I really like it.
Man, it was awesome. You know, the first time that we caught him was in Rio. And if y'all don't know DJ 50 Cal, dude is top notch. The last time we saw him was in Dallas, but he kind of bounced around a little bit. If you don't know him, you're just not in tune with what's going on in the mixing world. So, anyways, Craig, what'd you think? You totally down for a little bit of market news?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we'll start with the legacy markets this week. Microsoft and Alphabet both missed their earnings, and even so, currently Alphabet is up. That really surprises me that they performed so poorly, yet they're up about 3% at the time of this recording. Shopify hit last week, was down 15%, and that really dragged the market down on Friday. We got Walmart that has cut their price target from 180 to 150 and expecting profits to fall about 13%. So for me, that lets me know that things really aren't looking that good for retailers. Craig, you expect Target to get hit with this too, and Amazon, or you think that they're going to be good to go?
Absolutely. I think all retailers are going to see a pullback with there's just not as much money out there in the markets for people to spend aimlessly. And so it's going to pull back all to necessities, which when I think of necessities, I think of places like Walmart, groceries, and other household items, and even they're having to pull back. So especially places like Target, I expect will.
Well, that's exactly what Walmart came out and said, is that what they are seeing is less funds being spent on the durable goods, the things in the home and garden section, and the clothing, and that it's mainly food and fuel sales that they're seeing their revenue coming in on. And I think that we can expect that through the other parts of the market as well. Even McDonald's, their sales were up 3.7%, but that was due to price increases, and it beat their estimates of 3%. However, what they're seeing is that the people are buying the value items and not the combo meals. So it's the same type thing. Well, I don't need to pay for a Coke. I'm just going to get the burger and small fries and a water, as opposed to having to pay that extra for the Coke. So I think that we're seeing exactly what you're saying there, Craig. Boeing and Meta will be reporting today. I don't expect a whole lot out of Meta. I expect them to be negative, but in the case that they are positive, not a big deal there. And then UPS, their deliveries are down, and they'll be probably getting clipped with a little bit as well. It's just total volume. So that just shows that less people are sending things through, and may also indicate that Amazon sales will be down as well.
I would think so.
Mortgage rates are dropping. They're down for the last 4 weeks. So I think that all of this, all in all, is showing that just the discretionary spending is being absorbed by the food and energy costs, and that the Fed is getting exactly what they wanted out of the markets, which is less money, flowing into businesses, which is bringing their numbers down, and all in all is going to help fight inflation, they hope. Less money will definitely be flowing into the crypto market. I don't expect Joe Schmo to be coming in and buying a bunch of Cardano next month, because they don't have the money sitting there to spend on it.
Yeah, I think you'll see, especially with what they consider the retail investors, people like you and I think you'll see a lot less money pulling into both the stock market and to crypto, and really just all vehicles of investments, simply because, inflation is crushing us, and we're having to deal with that money being pushed elsewhere just to take care of what's going on at home.
Well, I think the other thing that we're going to see too is, the big institutions are stepping back a little bit from crypto as well, with the SEC coming down on Coinbase. which is it's a big story for a couple of reasons. Okay, so they're getting clipped with a little bit of insider trading, which is funny that Coinbase is the one that pushed this up as, hey, they threw the red flag, said, hey, this is a possibility. We've got somebody that we think is doing something potentially nefarious by one of their employees reporting to their brother on what is going to be some of the next coins that are going to hit Coinbase. And then SEC comes and lights them up over potential insider trading, which is impossible because they're not selling securities. Bum, bum, bum. Yet they are, because later on the SEC said, hey, these 9 are securities. It seems a lot of kangaroo court stuff is going on with these guys, and that I can't trust the SEC. The SEC is more so shady than, they're quite a bit more shady than even Coinbase or some of these quote unquote insider tradings that are going on.
I don't think anybody should trust the SEC ever, especially when it comes to crypto. I mean, look at what's going on with Ripple. That's still happening. How long has that been going on?
That's been going on for 3 years now.
3 years. Let's run with it. 3 years. And what have they found? Nothing. Everyone expects them to lose that battle, and they keep going and going and going.
It's just because the SEC is just dragging this out. They're trying to find every way to, well, the report that was given was, it was looked at by the SEC, but it doesn't represent what the SEC is saying, even though it was the head of the SEC that said it. It wasn't for markets. It was for, it was his own personal opinion, and it wasn't for market direction. It was just him having a discussion about it. Like, it's just all shenanigans. It's shenanigans. They're wrong, and they know it, and they can't do anything about it right now.
Exactly.
And I hope Ripple wins. I hope they win bigger than crap, and I think that if that happens,
I expect them to win.
I expect they should win, but we're also dealing with a very corrupt entity here. And if we've seen anything within our government over the last 20 or 25 years, is that it is, if we've seen anything within our government within the last 20 or 25 years, it's that more and more of these shady dealings are coming out, and that they are shady, and they're going to take care of themselves before they take care of anybody else. Nancy Pelosi. I mean, it's shady. What she's doing is technically not insider trading, but you've got Coinbase over here that's going, well, I've got an employee who told his brother that we're about to launch these cryptos onto our platform, yet Nancy Pelosi is head of a committee within Congress, and that they're going to launch this chips bill that is going to bring more of these chips back to the United States to be manufactured and produced, and that, oh, it's probably going to pass, wink, wink, nod, nod. And then her husband goes out and invests a couple $1 million into NVIDIA, and that's not insider trading, even though it was securities that he bought, whereas in the Coinbase element, it wasn't even securities. It was cryptocurrencies. Now, some of those probably got labeled that they were securities later on by the SEC, but it's after the fact, even though Coinbase has measures in place to make sure that securities aren't getting listed, and that it was verified by the SEC that, yes, this process will work. Well, then why is it not working? It's shady. It is completely shady. This whole thing, it's kangaroo court stuff that we're just going to have to deal with it until we get somebody in there with a set of balls that's going to fix everything. And I hope that Ripple's the one that walks in there swinging and takes them down. So
I think they will. I think Ripple is the one to put your money on. That's the winner in this fight.
Well, I hope so. So are you saying that you would invest into some Ripple right now?
I would put money in Ripple right now. Yeah.
The 33 cents.
33? What's all-time high on Ripple? It's got to be
$4.
Yeah.
$3.89.
I don't think it'll go back to that immediately after a win, but I could see them breaking $1 after a win.
Ooh.
I think you could 3x. If you put in right now and they win, I bet you could 3x.
What would you be willing to put your $100 for our challenge into it this week?
Screw it. I'll do it.
Oh,
yeah.
golly.
Okay. Let's.
Holy cow! This is way early for the challenge discussion.
Oh, we're doing it anyways.
Okay. Well,
my $100 for this week is going straight into Ripple just because. Why not?
Okay. So what you're saying right now is that you're going to take a long-term position. And do you have an exit strategy? I mean, this is right off the cuff because obviously you weren't planning on doing this before.
Obviously, I have no plan yet, but I will be making a plan before I put the money in.
as per Rule 0, which is have a plan. Okay.
And per Rule 1, be patient.
Be patient. Okay. Well, I think this is patient. Let's look on here. What is the lowest that Ripple's been in the last year? I mean, we're probably close to it right now.
I feel like
29, 30 cents.
Are you looking at it or are you guessing?
I'm guessing right now.
I have an odd feeling that maybe at one point they were down at like 17 cents.
Maybe during the pandemic, but I don't think right now. I think that maybe, I'm trying to get pulled up right now. Yeah, it looks like 29 cents, 28 cents.
How far back are you looking?
Middle of June.
Well, that's the middle of June. That's a month and a half ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if you're going to go long on something, that may be what that's a valid response.
Okay, I got it right here. So this is after the spike, or at least after one of the larger spikes. Well, let's just go through a history here. I'm looking at on KuCoin. I have it starting out around the price that it's at now, at 33-ish, going up to 50, working its way down to 10 cents. And then from there, it like was slowly going up, and then boom, 78 cents, swung back down to what is this? From 78 back to 17, back to 71, back down into the 40s, and then up to $2, and then just wild craziness from there, slowly working its way back down. So I mean, after it's, I feel comfortable. Yeah, 17. I mean, 10 is really the low I can find, but 17 feels like a very realistic low. So we're gambling a low of lose half of the investment, and a high of, well, I saw as high as $2 on there. So a high as much as 6x. And I'm not even, I mean, the only way that they go down back to 10, 17, that range is if they lose.
I don't even think if they lose.
I'm not betting that they lose anyway.
I don't even think, so there's a couple things. Last week, Jed McCaleb quit selling. He's done with all of the millions of Ripple that he's been offloading for the last 6 or 7 years. So we've got no more Ripple coming into the market from him. So as far as supply and demand goes, you're not having that constant influx of him pushing it in. So I think that there's a benefit from there that we haven't seen as of yet. And I think, so what if they lose? What's going to happen? They're going to pay a fine. That's what happened before on some of those other ones that have gotten clipped with, what was it? Ken and, boy, there were a couple other ones that got hit with, okay, your security. Okay, so they paid their fine and went on. Now, SEC may be a little salty after getting drugged through the mud for the last 3 years, but they brought that on themselves, but they're still taking it out on Ripple. But I don't think that you're looking at a pullback to 17 cents because they lost.
I mean, time will tell.
I guess we'll see. Okay, do you own any Ripple now?
I do not.
Have you owned Ripple before?
I have before. Okay. I don't remember at what cost. I don't remember what happened with it. I just know at some point I had some.
All right, well, that'll be interesting. So the challenge that we're talking about is part of what we do on the show every week. Craig and I allocate $100 to a trading account, and it's real $100. It's not paper trading, and it's our goal is to hit 150,000. So what we're shooting for on this is that allocation. He's telling what he's going to do with it. Previously, he's got it tied up into some Bitcoin bots. I kind of trade mine back and forth. I do some scalping with it. I'm sitting at 605.91. I'll get another $100 this week, which will pull me up to 705. I'm up about $105 at this point. I took a couple hits over the weekend. I was really looking like it was right on the edge for Solana and Bitcoin both to kind of break through for me. And I kind of got caught with a couple of them. I got stomped out. And then the other thing that happened is I did hit pretty good on Phantom and made back some of my losses with that. But I'm down a little bit from last week. But I'm kind of watching this week. It'll be interesting. We're waiting on the Fed chairman to speak today, which will probably come out about the time that we get this online. So we'll see. I think that's going to play a lot into how the market is moving, and that will in turn affect our crypto market. So that's what I'm kind of watching to see what happens. There's a couple more companies that'll be reporting later on this week. We've got Apple that'll be out tomorrow, and we'll see. I think because that may also play a part in how our market moves. Let's see, what else do we got here? I guess Kraken is another platform that gets hit. It doesn't seem like we're out of all of these negative news on the crypto platforms. They've been apparently violating some sanctions by trading with the Iranians or letting people buy and sell and trade in Iran. They're saying that's not what happened. Who knows? We'll see. And then Coinbase, they're down 20% based off of the news from the SEC on them getting kind of hauled in on this insider trading deal. Kathy Woods of ARK sold off $1.42 million in Coinbase stock. Are you interested in getting into Coinbase stock before? Because I know you've owned it before. But are you interested in getting in at this price around $52, $55?
I think we have an unknown bottom to Coinbase right now, and that kind of stuff scares me away. If it gets low enough, yeah, but I don't know what low enough is yet.
Well, I think
I'd rather see them start to trend upwards again, like pretty significantly. Like we went down to what, like 50s yesterday?
Went down to 50s, but it was down to 50s last week. And then during the entire movement up, we had 3 or 4 days last week of the market moving up. It went well into the mid 70s. That would have been 50% return on your $50 right now if it hit that $75 mark. You'd have been doing all right with it. What I'm asking is, does that scare you that, for one, Kathy Woods is dropped $1.5 million worth of Coinbase stock? Does that bother you at all? Does it bother you that they're getting hauled in front of the SEC, or is it another kangaroo court deal?
The SEC does worry me because I don't know how strong the case is for or against that yet. I would wait for more news and for more information to come out. The other thing I want to look at is, what is the price to earnings ratio? Because at some point that's going to get low enough that anybody would put into it, that if they think Coinbase is going to survive. I mean, when you look at other tech stocks, especially during the pandemic, you had 100, 200, 300 PE ratios. And meanwhile, I'm a big fan of investing into REITs, and you'll see 10, 15, 30. If we get Coinbase in ranges like that, why not?
Well, Coinbase makes money on both sides of the trade. You buy it, you get hit with a fee. You sell it, you get hit with a fee. You load your fiat onto the platform, you get hit with a fee. You pull it off the platform, you get hit with a fee. If you're using Coinbase, they're making money. And don't forget, they're still squeezing out a percent or two when you go to make your buy and sell. And I know some people are worried about the platform's health altogether. Were they in with the Three Arrows Capital? Are they in on the Celsius deal? And they're worried about the solvency because there's been some whispers of, are they insolvent or not? Are they in financial trouble just because they got rid of Coinbase Pro, which to me, the whole Coinbase Pro thing was stupid anyway.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. I never used it. I didn't even know what it was for.
Well, you don't get hit with fees. You get a Coinbase Pro access to that platform if you have Coinbase. If you trade on Coinbase, you get hit with a fee. If you do it on Coinbase Pro, it's quite a bit less of a fee, but it's less of a fee. Why are we doing this? But I think what they're doing is they're consolidating it down and then giving you the ability to buy and trade with margins and with trading stops and buy limits, and the same thing that you should be getting anywhere else, but now they're going to charge you a fee to be able to do that, in addition to all the other fees that are going on. So to me, it looks like, it's typical things from Coinbase as far as being for a beginner into the crypto market, but not for those of us who can handle moving things over to KuCoin or to Bybit or some of these other platforms.
Well, what
do you think?
Time?
Is it time for me to discuss what I want to put my money in, or? Well,
I mean, everybody already knows what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I announced that half an hour ago.
But you didn't do a follow-up on your Bitcoin bot. How's the Bitcoin bot looking? Is it?
Well, the Bitcoin bot has been doing all right. I mean, you have to remember the journey here, right? So it did a roughly 5% return the first week and a roughly like 13% return the next week. And then we had the down week and it ate all of my gains. So I basically started over, and now with the 400, I am up 27-ish dollars now. So with 27, 400, that's like 6%. So like, I feel very solid about doing these 5% returns with the bot as long as we don't have a down week. And so it's going to be a gamble of, are we going to have more up weeks than down weeks? And how big are the ups and downs going to be? But with where we're at in the market, like, yeah, I expect things maybe to go down short term, but I'm thinking long term everything goes up. So the bot just accumulating more and more Bitcoin for me is fine. And with the new grids at 0.4% as opposed to my 1%, we've continued to have a pretty good amount of volume of trades. I believe last week I was at 178 arbitrages for the week. Hasn't been quite as wild this week, but I'm still at 282 total. So another 110-ish. That's not bad. I mean, just in the last 24 hours, I've had 12, which put me at one every 2 hours, which the goal was to have one every 1 to 2 hours. So we're right there. And the grid APR alone, as it's been over the last 4 weeks now at this point, is 31%. So we're talking an additional 31% on my investment at this rate, on top of whatever positive or negative I have in growth. That's 31% extra. I'll take that all day.
Okay, that sounds really good, actually. For me, I'm sitting and waiting. I talked last week about not really wanting to be in any trades until I was sure that the Russian gas debacle was handled. They did come back in and turn the gas on, but what we're seeing now is they're only producing about 20% back to Europe, which I think is genius, because they really wouldn't want to fight on two fronts, and they really don't want Europe to get more involved in the Ukrainian fiasco than what they already are. But so they've turned the gas back on, but they're only giving them about 20%. What that does is it doesn't allow Europe to put anything into storage for the winter. So they're giving them enough to sustain right now, but not enough to build up. Russia will still be able to turn the screws. If they get through this Ukrainian deal in the next 3 months or 6 months, they can really get after Europe at that point. The other thing that's happened too on the bigger stage, Russia and China are trying to get together to put together their own world currency to thwart the U.S. dollar. So they're working together to put that out. I don't know. They're gonna have some work to do, because you still gotta have other people that trust it. Maybe it'll work between Russia and China, but the U.S. isn't gonna use it. The U.S. isn't gonna accept it. Neither is Europe. I don't know. We'll stay tuned on that. That doesn't bother me as much as them partly turning the gas back on over there. The other thing that's happened too is the prime minister from Italy, when I had their resignation went through. We talked about that last week, how the president didn't want them to do it, but it still passed. So there's still some shaky things going on with Europe as well. Until we get some more news from the Fed, until some of this other stuff calms down, I'm going to watch cautiously on what's going on throughout the rest of the world, because I still think that there's more bad news that is coming, and that's why we talk so much about. I do most of talking about the world news, because that is what I really think is affecting the markets now. I don't think technical analysis is going to have a whole lot of effect long term right now, because I still think that there's more downside to come. What do you think, Craig?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I still expect short-term things to be pretty bad, but I am hopeful that the ETH merge will happen in September and more positive news will follow, and we'll see a turnaround by the beginning of next year.
Oh gosh, the ETH merge. I don't think it's going to happen. We got to bet. I've got it after the first of the year. I've got the over on first of the year. I don't think it's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm going with historical trends here on ETH not being able to do what they said they were going to do.
Well,
We'll see.
we'll see.
Only time will tell. Is that what you were going to say? We've already used that one once.
Yeah, well.
Well,
All right.
so the other thing that happens with this, I mean, we're seeing a lot of ETH being burned, but leading up to something like this, it looks all well and fine, and we'll see a good push up till the merge. But once the merge happens, all that ETH that's locked up is going to come back onto the market. How many people are going to be selling that off? I mean, are they going to go ahead and dump it? They're not. They're going to get rid of it, which will drive the market down. So maybe leading up to the week prior, but the week of and the week after, I would expect it to go down.
I don't know, man. I mean, just on the news of them being on schedule, everything pumped up, much less the actual announcement of it's done. I expect big moves.
Yeah, I expect that to get released and people to sell it because at that point it'll be up.
Well,
so they'll be trying
you
to
have ETH staked.
I do.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, I'm not normal people. I plan on continuing to hold it, but I still believe in it long term. But what about the people that were doing it just, okay, I'm going to take some profit now?
I don't think anybody that staked their ETH for this long is looking to get out of it immediately. I mean, I think anybody that was willing to stake their ETH for this amount of time was willing to go the distance with ETH.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll take some profit.
Because it wasn't a guaranteed 1 year stake. It definitely wasn't a flexible stake. It was you're locked up until we're done. And I don't think especially me, I didn't stake any of it. Why? Because I want to be able to pull my stuff out when I want to pull it out. So the only people putting their money in are those that believe in ETH long term, like yourself. And I think whenever it does go through, there may be a small percentage of people that was like, that was a mistake, I want out. But I think the majority of them, they're sticking with it.
Well, if it gets pushed out, maybe I'll sell it and then just try to buy it down. When it drops $200 or $300, buy back in. I mean, that's completely, I think it's a completely logical decision. And then, we deal with a lot with bots here. Those bots see some of these market trends and they see that this is what normally happens and that, that we're starting to see some sales, and maybe they go ahead and push those sales through.
This conversation has inspired a would you rather.
Oh boy. Well, I guess it's time for would you rather. I don't have one for you today, Craig. So hit me, and maybe I don't know. Maybe you'll inspire me today.
Okay. Would you rather have your ETH staked for another 2 years? ETH merge doesn't happen this year, doesn't happen next year, and it goes to the middle of the year after. Or would you rather ETH merge happen in September, you sell out and never get back in? So do you want the ETH locked up for 2 more years?
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay.
I would do that because the other thing, I'm still earning 5.5-6% on it, so I'll just let it keep going. I mean,
if it were to take that long, though, do you think people would lose faith in Ethereum and start to sell out? And then now you're losing money versus it happens, you get out, and you're done.
Well, I think that this is the pans and the pickaxes for the crypto market. I mean, there's not very many things that are currently built on other projects that are working. Everything is ETH based. I want to be involved with that. The other thing I do like being involved with is Cardano, because I believe that they are going to be the other rail for building projects in the future. They have 2 different concepts. ETH is we'll build it, get it out there, and we'll fix it later, whereas Cardano is let's do it right the first time. So there aren't currently as many projects that are built on there, but there are a lot of developers that are using Cardano and we'll be using them in the future. So for me, I like the best of both worlds. I've got both. I've got Cardano and I've got ETH, and that may be something I'm interested in right now for next week. I've been watching ETH carefully over the last couple weeks. I bought and sold some Cardano as well. So I don't know. I would consider buying Cardano in the next week as well. If it looks like it's going to stay above this, if the FOMC meeting and the Fed chair's discussion don't wreck the market in the next 24 hours, then Cardano looks okay, and that'd be one that I would go with long term as well.
Well, just for the record, I would be on the other side of the would you rather.
Really?
I would rather the merge happen, the price pump, I get out, I never get back in. I'll just put that money somewhere else in the market because I believe the whole market's going to go up or down with it. I'll move to Matic. I'll move to BNB. I'll move to Bitcoin. I'll move to Cardano, like you said. I'll move to some other platform that's doing good work. But I'd rather ditch and run on good news than sit on bad news for a couple of years.
ETH is one of the projects out there that is going to be, they're one of the bigger projects. If I couldn't do that. I'd rather have some money in ETH, have some money in Bitcoin, because they're a more solid project. They're not fly by night. They're going to be there. So I don't know. You know what? I'll tell you what, Craig. You're wanting to go. Let's do a side bet here. Ripple against Cardano. In the next 2 years, our $100. We'll both put $100 into each of our projects, and we'll see who wins when we hit that $100,000.
So you're telling me this week you're putting 100 into Cardano at some point this week. I'm putting mine into Ripple at some point this week, and we're just going to wait it out and see what happens?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can still trade it though, right? I could still sell it
as long as I'm just going to buy and hold.
Are you? Well, I do like to. I think that right now I like that Cardano could go up to 52, 53 cents, and I could clear 10% on it, on just that $100 and make 110, and then buy back in later on. I could do that. Or you want to go? You want to go for? Okay. All right. He's giving me the eye.
I'm going for the full ETH stake. It's in there and it's just sitting.
Okay. You want to do a 1 year hold from now? Can you assume that the SEC debacle with Ripple will be over in the next year?
I would hope so.
All right. 1 year from now, Cardano versus Ripple, $100 on it.
Nice.
Done deal. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Crypto BS. I'm Al.
And I'm Craig.
Signing off.